Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Big Akar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be about propaganda. Propaganda that is stirred up by our favorite country, Israel. How they go ahead and control the Western countries like the United States, politics, how they control their media and their entertainment like movies and music, how they control their advertising and large corporations. And it's kind of crazy to see the transparency, to see the bondage with the United States and Israel at the moment. It's kind of crazy to see that even if you're not against Israel, if you just say anything pro-Palestinian, stop killing children and women, you're anti-Semitic, you need to be canceled, you support terrorism, you are a terrorist yourself. It's really, really crazy to see the level of this happening. And we have a new victim. Her name is Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid has been taken out of the Adidas ad campaign, and she is a model. I do not advocate for modeling. Modeling is 100% haram in the religion of Islam and in the eyes of God, no matter what religion you go ahead and follow. Selling your body for a price is something that you should not do. If that is on the extreme side of pornography, or if that is on the lesser side of just modeling clothes, maybe, for instance, I suggest not doing it. I suggest staying away from that, as you are selling yourself for a price and you are not to be sold. Your face, your blessings that God has given you is not to be sold off for a measly price, right? Now, going away from that, she's been removed from the ad campaign. And we're going to go ahead and check out why she was removed from the ad campaign. And it's because she is a Palestinian woman, right? Now, we're going to go ahead and react to what Candace Owens has to say about this. Candace Owens used to work for the Daily Wire, and the Daily Wire is ran by Ben Shapiro, another Jewish man who is a very big supporter of Israel. He is a Zionist. He is a little rat that runs his mouth every single day and advocates for the genocide of the Palestinian people. Advocates for the full takeover of Jewish people. He is someone who has no remorse, has no empathy, and has no emotion when it comes down to these things. He's he's like a chihuahua that barks a lot, and he's really loud, and he's really aggressive when it comes to his own country, but then he doesn't care about any other human life. And I find that very, very interesting. Someone who has been debating college kids his whole entire life. But for that point, Candace Owens was fired by her boss, and she was fired by her corporation, which was the Daily Wire, and she used to journalism for, and she used to report with. And she was fired because of this current Israel genocide that is happening on the Palestinian people. Because she spoke out against it, because she spoke about it, because she showed concern for it, she was removed from the company, right? Because it's owned by Jewish people, may I remind you. So, why do people just lose multi-million-dollar deals because they say, stop killing Palestinian people? This is not something that's anti-Semitic. This is not something that's terroristic. This is something that stands up for humanity. And you would think in a country like the United States of America, that is not Israel, that talking about another country like Israel who's doing these things is a good thing, right? We have freedom of speech, we have freedom of expression. But no, apparently not. You get fired, you get taken down, you get removed from everything that you possibly have. Your credit score is gone, your house is gone, your kids are gone. They take everything from you, apparently, if you have a view on Israel, not even Jewish people in general. So I find this very, very, very sad. We're going to go ahead and listen to what Candace Owens has to say about Bella Hadid, as Candace Owens was deleted or basically canceled for the same exact reason as Bella Hadid, for going ahead and having any type of support for Palestinian people and speaking out against tyranny. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this and figure out what happened to Bella Hadid and this Adidas ad campaign.
Bella Hadid, I don't really in the modeling world. I definitely don't even like Adidas, okay? I don't support Adidas as a company. But what is happening to her right now is an absurdity. I'm going to take you through what took place.
Before we go ahead and start, I'm going to go ahead and second her. I am not in the modeling world. Modeling is haram, like I went through before. And Adidas is a very evil company. Nike, all these large corporations, they work with your politicians. They work with the top people on this planet. They control how the propaganda moves. They control how the media moves. They control the mindset and the narrative around everything. And when they're told to do something, they do it. When they tell someone to do something, they do it. They work as a team. And who owns all these companies? You can go ahead and look into that yourself, or I myself might get canceled. My channel might get removed. But the people who own these companies are the same people who own these countries, right? And I find it very, very interesting to see this transparency between who owns all these companies, who owns the music industry, who owns the movie industry, who runs Israel, who runs, United States politics. And it's funny because it's like a group of people, right? And they all come from the same group of people. And anytime you even say their name, or anytime you say their enemy's name, they come right after you and they get rid of you right away. No matter if you're a model who just wears Adidas sweatsuits, they're coming after you because you as a model aren't allowed to have a freedom of speech or political or social view or humane view of things because you're a model. You're dangerous to society because you have some type of influence over a couple teenage girls that you would tell them that what's happening in Palestine is wrong, that women and children being blown to shreds is wrong. It's crazy to think about this.
So Israel, as in the country, has a Twitter account, a verified Twitter account, like, yes, we are the real Israel. And they tweeted this about 48 hours ago. Adidas recently launched a new campaign for their shoes to highlight the 1972 Munich Olympics. 11 Israelis were murdered by Palestinian terrorists during the Munich Olympics. Guess who the face of their campaign is? Bella Hadid, a half-Palestinian model who has a history of spreading anti-Semitism and calling for violence against Israelis and Jews. She and her father frequently promote blood libels, anti-Semitic conspiracies against Jews. Adidas, any comment? Okay, so right instantly I know that everything, virtually everything in this is going to be a lie. You can tell by the language in there because they're not actually saying Adidas has said anything explicitly in the campaign or Bella did anything in the campaign explicitly, and they're just pretending that the campaign highlighted the Olympics. Doesn't make any sense. And then they use their favorite terms, blood libels, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And I instantly knew that something was wrong with this because
if you want someone to be wrong, just call them anti-black, anti-gay, anti-Semitic. Call them racist. The best thing to do is say it's a conspiracy. Tell them that they're a conspiracy theorist. Because when you tell someone you're a conspiracy theorist, you're basically telling them, like, you're a crazy person. You just make up whatever you want off the top of your head. Like, reality is not true to you. It's so crazy that you're not allowed to question things anymore. When you watch a movie, like a detective movie, there's like 200 outcomes. Even the detective's going the whole time for weeks, months, years. And then, well, it's not this guy, it's that guy. Like, you do realize that a story or something is not just one-sided, but the media tries to tell you that it's one-sided. You should only get this story and this story only and believe this and this story only, and if you don't, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a racist, you're a terrorist, you're evil. And that's how the media is controlled. That is how the media is controlled, by this group of people that go ahead and now control the media in their favor 200,000%. It's funny that you can say whatever you want about black people, you can say whatever you want about Arabs, you can say whatever you want about Asians and gay people, whatever the case may be. They won't cancel you, they won't take away your modeling career, they won't take away, your journalism or your reporting career. Like, for instance, Candace Owens, she made a whole entire thing about Black Lives Matter, right? She exposed Black Lives Matter. You would think a black woman, woman exposing Black Lives Matter, saying this is all BS, the money's going to crap, and George Floyd is a conspiracy, right? You would think someone who came out with this information would get canceled instantly. No, she got bigger. She became a bigger, journalist. She worked for the Daily Wire. You would think the Daily Wire, who fired her for speaking against Israel, right? They fired her for speaking against Israel because they're Jewish. That's who runs the company, is Ben Shapiro, that little rat. You would think that they would have the same standard for black people, right? Say, oh, Candace, you went against the whole entire movement of Black Lives Matter. It's one of the biggest movements in history, and you went against it, and you're black. We can't have you here. No, they probably paid her double after that to go ahead and slander against black people. And they'll probably pay her double to slander against Arabs and Muslims. But when it comes to Jewish people, when it comes to Israel, when it comes to what is currently happening, stand against them or talk about what's happening to their enemy, how they're blowing up women and children, you're fired. You're done. Career over. It's kind of crazy.
I know the story of Bella Hadid's family and how they came to the United States, and it's such an appalling story that the reason why they have been targeting her since October 7th is because just sharing the story, if you have like a modicum of a soul, a modicum, not even the full soul, just like a modicum of a soul, you will go, oh my gosh, that is horrific, and I'm sorry, okay? So Bella Hadid shared, and this is a fact, and you can look this up. They have documents. Nobody is debunking that this took place with her family. Way back in 1946, there was a boat of refugees, of Jewish refugees that were coming from Germany following the war, and they were actually refused port in New York. They were refused port in Cuba, and then they arrived at Palestine. And they were carrying a sign. There are images of this in history of them carrying a sign basically saying to the Palestinians, like, the Germans destroyed our dreams, please don't destroy our hopes. And because there were Christians and there were Muslims who felt so horrifically about what took place during World War II, they opened their literal homes to these people. Like, I'm not saying, like, yeah, you can stay here and build a home for you, as in these people said, you can move into our homes. So Bella Hadid's grandmother, her paternal grandmother, her name, and it's escaping me right now, I think it is Zaire.
So there was this Jewish family that left Germany after World War II as they were trying to flee from what had happened during the Holocaust. They went to America. They were denied access. America, the most Jewish-friendly, Israeli-friendly place in the world, denied these Jewish people trying to seek refuge access from the United States of America, the country that directly went against Hitler in World War II and the Nazi Party, who helped fund and create the state of Israel, denied these people access from their country. Very interesting. Cuba denied them access. And they went where? They went to Palestine, right? In the 1940s. When they got there in the 1940s, Bella Hadid's grandma used to live in Palestine. She's Palestinian. She's where she lives. That's where she's from. Bella Hadid's grandma, right, went ahead and took in two families into her home. Housed them, fed them, kept them, right?
Grandmother, essentially Zara, I think her name is. Her grandmother was one of these people that opened their homes, and she allowed two families, because I had to fact check this after I did a video on TikTok yesterday, to move into their home in Safad, okay? They allowed this family to live in their home for 2 years. At the time, Bella Hadid's grandmother had 4 children, okay? 3 children, and she was pregnant with one. And when she was due to give birth to her son, she decided to go stay with her parents so that she could deliver the baby, be around her mother. And when her baby was 9 days old, she returned to her house where her friends and the refugees that had been staying with her for years, people that she never felt threatened by, who she felt, again, genuinely needed that help that they were giving to her, had locked her out of the home. Locked her out of the home. The gate was locked, and when they tried to communicate with them, the people said, if you try to get into this house, you will get killed. This is a takeover. Your home is now our home. They were instantly made refugees on that day. This is a true story. You can look this up yourself. It's unimaginable. It's unimaginable to me that this took place.
It's crazy how you take in refugees and become a refugee a couple weeks later. It's so messed up. And I see this parallel to my life, right? Growing up in school, I'm going to go ahead and just end the reaction here. Growing up in school as a American Muslim Lebanese descent, I've always been told, go back to your country, you're a terrorist, you're this, you're that, your uncles, Osama, Bin Laden, and all these crazy things. After 9/11, in elementary school and middle school, a lot of people made these claims and made these remarks. And in my head, as a kid, it affected me a lot. And I used to tell myself, like, you're born here. This is your country. This is America. Like, I'm indulged in American culture. I am American. If I went to Lebanon, I wouldn't really fit in. I wouldn't really, fit into the culture or the people or the language or the everything. I'm born and raised here. I'm American, right? This is my culture. This is where I live. So it never really made sense to me as a kid. But growing up and seeing how propaganda is spread and how the news really, really controls the narrative and paints people as an enemy and brainwashes people into believing that people are just natural enemies of you is crazy to think about. They dehumanize people like Arabs and Muslims. They dehumanize people like this. So you don't feel bad when they go blow them up. So when America pushes into Iraq and kills 1 million Iraqis, you don't feel bad. You don't care because they had weapons of mass destruction and they were the most dangerous people on earth. And look what happened to Saddam Hussein. They go and they point at all these things and then they fund terror groups. And they go, look at the terrorist group. Like they do all of these smoke screens. So you dehumanize these people. So when they go murder millions of them, you don't care. You don't bat an eye. When one of them is a refugee whose family lost everything, who's been through everything, you go ahead and blame them. You see them as the enemy, not the victim, even though they are the victim overall. Bella Hadid's grandmother took in two Israeli families or Jewish families that were fleeing from the Holocaust, right? And after a few weeks, lost her home to them, right? They went ahead and created a plan to barricade her out of her own house, which had her fleeing from where she was in Palestine in the 1940s. In the 1940s, over 800,000 Palestinians were evicted and had to flee from their homes. They were pushed out, and she was one of them. And it's so sad to see that you're displaced from your home that you lived in, that you offered people to come live in, to feed them, to clothe them, to allow them to sleep on your bed, right? To have shelter. And they steal your home from you. And then what do? They point at you and your lineage and call you the enemy. They call you the aggressor. They call you the terrorist. They call you the anti-Semite. That's so crazy, the double standard. It's so crazy how they twist and turn the story and the narrative of things. It's so crazy that that my whole entire life, 27 years old, I was called a terrorist, Osama bin Laden's your uncle, all these crazy things, 9/11 this, 9/11 that, and I was painted as this terrorist type of figure, or even if they were joking around or whatever the case may be, this was the label that was placed on me when it was my family that were hit by American and Israeli bombs. It's my family that died in the takeover of the Middle East. My grandma, my uncle who died in Lebanon, who were killed in Beirut. These are the things that people just don't understand. Like, my family is the victim, not you who's sitting here with your family who probably went to the Middle East and caused these things to happen to my family, which brought my family here. So it's kind of crazy to see that the aggressor blames the victim for being the aggressor. And that is what's happening. It's crazy to see what happened to Bella Hadid. She was fired from her ad campaign with Adidas. It's crazy to see what happened to Candace Owens, who was fired from the Daily Wire. It's crazy to see what happens to all these people. Like Kanye West, he lost all of his deals because of what he said about Jewish people, right? And he did this on purpose. And what was the company that dropped him? Adidas. That's who cut off his billion-dollar deals, was Adidas. And I'm pretty sure he did it on purpose because he knows that's how you do it. But nothing else will get you canceled like being anti-Semitic. Even when you're not being anti-Semitic. Just saying, I don't want Palestinian women and children to die. You're anti-Semitic, you're a terrorist, you're a Hamas supporter, you deserve to die. That's how they label you, that's how they view you, and they pinpoint this on you and they place this on you to make you less human, to make you more easy to go ahead and attack. When you die, no one's going to care because you were half a human anyways. And this is how they go ahead and paint the propaganda. This is how they go ahead and control the media. And this is just another example out of the thousands, the millions that are to come and have happened already of this propaganda, this mainstream control propaganda. And it blows my mind because I'm supposed to be living in America, land of the free, home of the brave, right? The country that gives me freedom of religion, freedom of speech, all of these different freedoms. But you're not free to speak about one specific subject, and if you do, everything's canceled. Will come rain down hell on your household, hell on your family for the next 8 generations. It's really crazy to see, and it's truly sad. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. Oh, and one more thing, anything else you talk about, it's not just when it comes to Israel propaganda. It's when you talk about the thing that goes in your arm, right? Or the 2020 sickness that came about. When you speak about these things, you get those little tags at the bottom of the YouTube video. You get the tag at the bottom of Twitter or Instagram telling you misinformation. This is the real information. And usually when someone is trying to steer you towards one specific narrative of something, it's because they're trying to hide something, right? It's funny you're labeled as a conspiracy theorist, and when someone labels you as a conspiracy theorist, it just means you're crazy. It's funny they label you as a conspiracy theorist, but in reality, there's always two sides to every story, if not three, four, five, six, right? So it's very, very sad to see that when someone has a different viewpoint on a specific subject, especially when we're in America, land of the free, home of the brave, you're allowed to speak about these things. The whole point they give you these freedoms is so this can't happen, so the government can't lie to you, so the government can't get enough power. That's why you have the freedom to bear arms and have weapons, is so that the government can't get powerful enough to control the whole country militarily, like a communist country, right? They give us these freedoms to protect ourselves from the powers above. But then when you use your freedoms to protect yourself from the powers above, they label you as this criminal. They try to get rid of you. They try to cancel you. They try to take away your income. They'll arrest you. They'll do anything to go ahead and take you out. So it's very, very sad to see, and it sucks. But this is the stage that we live in. This is the media that we are controlled by, and you need to be very, very aware of it. When you're scrolling through the internet, when you're getting information and it's being fed to you, understand that it's being fed to you. And they want you to see a specific way. They want you to react a specific way. They want you to understand things a specific way. And that algorithm learns you. It learns how to get into your head, and it learns how to give you the same narrative of everyone else in a different way, shape, or form, so you all come back to the same conclusion in the end. Thank you guys so much for coming in today. God bless every single one of you, and keep your eyes open. Free Palestine, baby.